Hi everyone, it's Miss Liz from the Hightstown branch. Today I'm going to show you a science experiment geared to our younger children, preschoolers, maybe even kindergartners, about ice and salt and how they mix and what happens when they do mix. So you'll need at least ice cubes, or what I end up doing is taking a Tupperware container and putting some water in it and some fun small toys and freezing that. And then, of course, part of the fun is getting to the toys inside the ice. You'll need salt, you'll need water, spoons or eyedroppers or something to get the water out and drop it onto the ice. And of course, somewhere to do your experiment. All right, watch the video for more fun. Thank you. So you're going to take your small Tupperware container and put the toy in and fill it with water. You don't want to have a large Tupperware container because then that's more ice that you'll have and more that you'll have to go through. So to get the toy out, at least, you don't want to have too much going on. But you can do it plenty of times with a toy in it, without a toy. So I've got my dinosaur as my toy because that's always fun to excavate that, of course, like real dinosaur fossils. So now that I've got them in my Tupperware, I'm going to fill it up. Make sure the water is just above the dinosaur. Whoops. Turn it off. And I'm going to bring it over here and put him into my freezer. Okay, so he's all set in my freezer amongst my ravioli and other great things. And we're going to let him freeze to get that ice nice and cold and frozen. And we'll check back in a couple hours. And then we'll get ready to pop him out of there and do our excavation experiment. So now we have our items in ice. I've had them sitting out for a little bit just to warm up. We're outside where it's nice and warm, thankfully, today on our driveway. So if you can't be outside, if you want to do it somewhere where you can do it maybe on a baking sheet or one of those big like disposable aluminum baking pans, something like that with an edge is great. So you want to give your iced items a little bit of time to warm up. We've got some water. This is just room temperature water. There's no specific amount that you need. I just filled it up since we're outside so I don't have to keep going back and forth. A spoon or some kind of eyedropper to drop the water in a little bit at a time. I've got my helper here showing us our salt. So we've got that. And the salt is what's going to help melt our ice faster, because salt actually lowers the temperature or the melting point of ice so that it needs to be colder to freeze. Which is why salt is used in the wintertime on roadways. So we'll see how salt helps us excavate our items here. And we're going to try with just water first, and then we're going to add some salt and do a mixture of salt and water. But I figure with our water, we're going to put in a little bit of food coloring because it'll be easier to see. And of course, it's just more fun with food coloring. Maybe my assistant can stir it for me, so we can get it all mixed up. That way we can see the water when it goes on the ice, so we don't have the clear water on the clear ice. Okay, we've gotten our items out of their containers, so they're ready to go. We're going to start with a little bit of water on them. And we'll just spoon the water on them. The water is room temperature, so the water is warmer than the ice. We're going to see if that melts the ice, which it looks like it might. We can feel a little bit where the ice is dented. It's melting in a little bit where the water's coming in. But let me tell you, that's going to take a long time. So now I think we're going to add some salt. My assistant's going to hold our spoon. Thank you so much. All right, and we're going to put some salt onto, there we go, yep, onto our ice excavation. And we can see the salt is soaking up some of the water, getting absorbed. And now we're going to put some water on top. Let's see how that's doing. And that spoonful of water just spread it out. Let's see if we can find what is in here. I see we've got, it looks like some kind of animal and possibly some other item. Oh, my assistant knows what's in here. Thank you. Yeah, so let's keep putting on water. Now, of course, depending on the age of your child and their attention and patience, at this point you might want to start pouring the water or adding more salt, and that's perfectly fine. All right, so if you do put a lot of salt on at once, you can actually hear the ice cracking. Well, unfortunately, it doesn't look like I can quite get it to do that. We've got my assistant working on his experiment too. As a good scientist, we're working on a couple at once. So I've got a ton of salt on mine. I'm going to help it along with lots of water now. And I am able to start freeing my dinosaur here. You can feel that there's still a bit of ice here, but it's not covering all my dinosaur anymore. We've got my mystery guest over here. Let's see if I pour more salt. If you listen carefully, you can hear that crack. And there we go. You can even mix salt into the water if you wanted to as well, and make it like seawater and use it that way instead of doing salt by itself and then water by itself. Depends on what you really want to do here. But we're using the salt to make the ice have to get to a colder temperature to freeze than it already is. And of course the sun is helping us too. And the nice warm black top of my driveway. And then the warm water. So all these things are helping our ice, which was a solid. They're helping it melt and turn into a liquid. Just like our water. Our surprise guest is Moana, baby Moana. You can see we've got some of the ice between Moana and our dinosaur has already melted. My assistant is still working here, but he's been quite overzealous with the salt here, so be ready for that. Alright, let's pour some more water and see what else we can melt. It's just kind of melting away. It's disappearing right before our eyes here. The last remaining bits of ice. And there it is, friends. We've got baby Moana. Might be a little salty. And a dinosaur. I'm guessing possibly Brachiosaurus? Yep, my assistant confirms it's Brachiosaurus. Okay, so as you can see, we've used lots of salt, we've used water with some food coloring, and regular Tupperware containers and tap water to freeze some ice around some toys, some spoons, and we had a nice fun morning of melting ice and learning a little bit about science.